Good evening, Littleton. Good evening, Littleton. We're still having a little feedback, so hopefully we can resolve that. I think it's this right here.
Yeah.
Karen, can you hear us okay?
I can.
Great.
I don't know. I haven't touched it. Blame it on me. It's okay. I'm the one that flipped the switch. Must be my fault.
Again.
Better that I flip the switch than flip something else.
Testing. A little bit. Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Littleton. Welcome to the April 8th edition of the Littleton Select Board. We will be entering executive session to discuss contracts with our union personnel and the fire chief, the hopeful fire chief, and we will come out in approximately 10 to 15 minutes back into regular session. If I could have a motion.
Move that the Select Board vote to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, police, fire, dispatch, and public works unions, and interim fire chief.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, seconded by Chuck. We're going to do a roll call vote. Karen?
Aye.
Matthew?
Yes.
Chuck?
Chuck DeCosta says aye.
And I'm an aye as well. We'll see you in approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you.
Doing your own work.
All right. Welcome back, Littleton, to the April 8th Select Board meeting. I will go over the quick agenda, but first I would like to hold the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have Mr. Rambacher is not with us this evening, and Miss Morrison is remotely with us. So we do have 4 members here. This evening's agenda is going to look something like this. We have some unbelievably exciting news. We are going to be appointing our new interim fire chief, Steele McCurdy, here in a few minutes. We will then get that contract approved, signed. We will, I understand we wanted to do a recognition of John Constantian. Is that something we wanted to put off?
We were going to put off for this meeting, yep.
As he couldn't be with us this evening. We have a joint meeting with the Finance Committee. This is where we will be reviewing town meeting warrants, finishing up the warrants, as this will go to print tomorrow, the warrant?
Good Lord willing.
Okay. For our May town meeting. And we have some, obviously, member updates and public input. Then we will get into some updates regarding our major projects going on in town. We include the sewer project, King Street Development, Nagog Orchard, 36 King Street reuse, Center at Shattuck Street, and a little bit of discussion on the Shaker Lane, to see where we are with the Shaker Lane Elementary School. We will have some more select board discussions. We have a Girl Scout Silver Award, a vote to change the title of Assistant Town Administrator, vote to approve the route for August 18th, 2024 for Tour de Cure bicycle fundraising event, a vote to approve Littleton Cultural Council request. We have discussion of Taylor Street truck exclusion, continued discussion. Approve entertainment licenses for Littleton Rotary for some real exciting news. We have a carnival coming to Littleton, so we'll talk a little more about that. And we will approve request for the National Historical Commission to place signs around town for the annual Patriots Day event on April 19th.
25.
25?
Right?
Oh, April 19th. Held on April 19th. That's what it says here.
Okay.
And then we'll approve some minutes, and then we will adjourn. So I know it sounds like a lot, but I think we can get through this fairly well. I know some people, 9:20 is a tip-off for some NCA event, so hopefully get some of you home. That being said, we have mail.
Yes. Thank you, Mr.
you.
Chairman. We've got current openings on our board, one on the Clean Lakes Committee, one on the Economic Development Committee, one on the Permanent Municipal Building Committee, one on the Sustainability Committee, and 3 alternate council at-large members for the Transportation Advisory Council. If you'd like to sign up for public notifications for the town, please go on to www.littletonma.org/subscribe. People that have Xfinity in the community should have received this already, but we just got this notice that effective March 18th, Lace is no longer be available with Xfinity. And effective May 1st, Marquee TV will increase the cost of its subscription video on demand package from $8.99 per month to $9.99 per month. If a customer subscribes to Marquee TV, they will see the new subscription cost reflected in their next bill. We have a couple gift acceptance forms for the EHS. We've got the Cast Zelny for $450 to be for the Tread Fund for EHS, and another one for EHS from the Friends of Littleton Council on Aging and Peter Barbella for $2,000 to the Tread Fund also. And that's it for me.
Great, that's fantastic. Thank you for the donations. A critical fund that council or the friends continue to put on. All right, let's move into some more good news. So we've, over the last few months, we've held interviews, and this is culminating with an agreement and an appointment of our new interim fire chief, Mr. Steele McCurdy. We just had executive session we came to an agreement on a 3-year contract, hopefully starting, I would say, in or around June 1st, through a 3-year contract through 26, I believe it was correct, 24, 25, 26, so actually through 27, starting 27. We're excited. I know this is welcome back to Littleton as far as work goes. I know this is your home, which that's, we know how critical that is for any senior manager to live in town is just a blessing. So I will open it up, but I truly appreciate you and respect everything you're going to bring to the town and moving the department forward over the next several years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything to add?
No, I think we kind of covered a lot of it in executive session, but just for the public, it has been, kind of a crazy time, and the members of the fire department have stood strong and helped us get through, some bumpy roads, and it's good to see some stability with Deputy Coffey coming on board. Certainly, retired Chief Clancy kind of steadied the helm, brought Sean on board as deputy, and to see you come, Gary references to come home is really stabilizing, and it's on the day of the eclipse, it's a bright future ahead. So we're really excited about you being on our team, and I think with seeing how many members are here, I think it's a good thing for them as well. So really excited to have you come on board, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Ms. Morrison, did you want to add anything?
I just want to echo the sentiments that we're very fortunate, and I appreciate Mr. Steele coming on, and looking forward, or Mr. McCurdy coming on, and
I'm totally used to that, don't worry about it.
I thought it was a talk.
looking forward to working with you.
Great.
Mr. Matt?
Come on up, and if you have anything you want to say to the community or anything, please.
So thank you very much. Obviously, over the last couple of months, I've had a great opportunity to meet everybody, and I'm really looking forward to coming back here to where it all started for me, and certainly helping this department and this community as a whole grow into the future challenges. So, again, I appreciate this, and thank you all very much, and I can't
wait to work with all of you.
Thank you. You're coming into a great department, as you know.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right,
Ready for motion?
I am.
Move that the select board vote to appoint Steele McCurdy as interim fire chief for a term of 3 years starting on or before July 8th, 2024.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor? I have to do roll call? Yes. We'll do a roll call vote. Matthew?
Yes.
Chuck?
Chuck goes in favor.
Karen?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, so that is unanimous for our board that is here, so, thank you. We'll do a picture.
Congratulations,
Grab a
Dale.
picture, Matthew. Quick picture.
Okay.
The three of you.
Get a picture?
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
fine.
Yeah, that's what we do. We have an awesome social media presence.
Do one here, I don't mind having members come over too.
Oh, man, so, all right.
We'll do this, I want these guys.
Yeah, me too.
The prom all over again. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
You need to step back further, wider lens.
Wow. No. I'll make sure. All right, ready? All right.
Good stuff. You guys. All right.
I should say, did you hear about the call they responded to this morning, early this morning, that someone went at Market Basket? They
Yeah, I saw the
moved
pictures.
forward, it was hanging off the front end was hanging off the
Into
wall.
over the water there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have hurt.
Yeah, everybody's safe though, I think. Everybody-
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
All right. Love great things like that.
Do we need to approve the contract, because that's on the next thing on the agenda?
Yes.
Please.
So we're going, next we're just going to formalize the confirmation of the contract that we discussed in executive session.
Move that the select board vote to approve the employment agreement between the town of Littleton and interim fire chief Steele McCurdy.
Before a second, do we want to put a caveat on there that, as far as the start date, give you the authority to?
Subject to the start date as agreed upon mutually between the town, between the chair of the select board and Steele McCurdy. How about that?
Perfect, thank you.
Second.
Yeah, okay.
Moved by Matthew, seconded by Chuck. A roll call vote, Karen?
Aye.
Matthew?
Aye.
Chuck?
Chuck goes aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Let's see. I will mention that the contract itself, though Mr. McCurdy the title is interim fire chief, the language in the contract does allow him to flow into the full-time position if that becomes necessary or available. So without having to go back out to the public and have more interviews and more process. So, we're very excited about that. So, thank you once again. All right. Next on the agenda, we actually had a recognition of John Kasanjian in the PRCE for Agency of the Year Award for Program Outreach, but we're going to hold that off because John could be with us this evening. So we'll probably see that on our next agenda. Is that fair to say?
That is.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, we have a joint meeting with FinCom. All right, I'll move a little bit down. I don't want to go too far down, but it's up to you. So you need one more for a quorum.
Yeah.
Are you expecting a quorum?
Yeah.
We can deputize Mr. Sanders. Deputize George.
Yeah, you know what, we can wait a few minutes. I have a couple other items we
You
can
want to just shoot some text?
Well, no, everyone said, yeah, I can probably, I know that Steve and Fred cannot.
Okay. So,
I mean, can we do it without a quorum of FinCom? I mean,
We can, because I don't believe, their recommendation,
They
any
wouldn't-
recommendation that you haven't done, you can have forthcoming. Correct. So it would be, I don't know what we have left for, but we would like your discussion, so if you want to come up, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, we can discuss.
Do you want to give it a little bit of time?
Official.
I can also give a little bit more time if you think, 5 minutes. We do have 4. All right.
Slide some stuff around.
Yeah, we'll move some stuff around, so if you...
Okay. Where would you like to move, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, right. Every item in our joint meeting was going to be truly joint discussion.
Pretty much, yeah, but, give it a couple more minutes, it's
Okay.
fine, it's fine.
All right, we have, I'll get into, our silver award projects. I don't think that's not here yet for the
I
council.
don't think Penelope's here, so,
I can talk really slow if you want me to do it.
Yeah.
TA's update?
Yeah, do you have a town administrator update? Let's
Sure.
get that out, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Want everyone to know that the Rotary is hosting a carnival this June 20th to the 23rd, I believe, and it's going to be held at 550 King Street. And all of I believe the proceeds are being donated and is being put on by the Fiesta shows. So there was a recent meeting on site with public safety, police, fire, LELWD, the Fiesta shows, people from the Rotary, myself, and just
Highway.
went through placement of everything. There's also going to be entertainment there. There's also going to be, I believe, 3 beer vendors that are going to be there, and they'll be separate from the carnival and the rides and everything. And but
Our local vendors.
yeah, we have definitely one local vendor,
Yeah.
Dirigible, is going to be there. But they're going to be isolated, so no one can walk around freely with an open container or a container at all. Also would like to thank the support of the Select Board, and particularly Karen Morrison for spearheading the newsletter of looking for that to be
Yes.
to be established. I sent out an email to all of the chairs on the boards and commissions on Thursday or Friday, inviting them to participate, and in the event that they would like to get some information out there. I have also, at this morning's department head meeting, explained that we will be starting this on June 1st to the department heads, and anything that is due will have to be due 2 weeks before the month. So, for instance, May 15th, everything is due for the June 1st newsletter, and that's going to be on our town website, and we really suggest and encourage everyone to tune in. We're also doing is the select board really wanted to identify and having a measuring stick on the employee survey on the working environment, which is so very, very important in not only the public sector but private sector all around. So kudos to the 5 of you for being sensitive to that. That's really been the first time I've ever experienced that in my career, that the elected body is that sensitive. So I appreciate that, and it was very well received and appreciated. Last week I attended the Friends of Council on Aging meeting with Liz, the executive director of the COA and EHS, and also wanted to. She was sharing the renderings of the new senior center that's currently being built, and to the Friends' credit, they were asking for the availability of information of being proposed to them to invest in it if there's any particular thing. So Liz and I will go back at the next month's meeting with a list of items that would be a great addition that would really help out tremendously, and we'll have that discussion. Last week I attended the Neshoba Valley Chamber of Commerce. It was an excellent event. What started out to be 4 area town administrators, town managers, ended up just to be myself and the Air Town manager. And I will tell you from listening all around, we are doing fantastic of listening just with other communities and people that came to talk to me after. It's very, very impressive on the number of different things we have here, from affordable housing, the fact that there is no override, everything has been done, strong financial position that the community is in. And so it was an excellent meeting and very well received. We continue to look for and get creative on finding a grant writer for this upcoming fiscal year in a consultant approach. And there's a couple things that I will mention off. I'll talk to the select board offline about, of ideas of maybe that I would like to propose, and we can continue that discussion. Indian Hill, the construction bid that was scheduled for last Tuesday was postponed until Friday, and that came in, and
We'll give that update in the warrant, so, right?
Oh, more of an update in the warrant.
Yeah, they're in the warrant, right, so.
okay. Shaker Lane, there's going to be, for the designer selection, Ryan is going to attend a meeting tomorrow with MSBA on to identify who the designer is going to be. And they're doing that because typically MSBA likes to have 3 to select from, but unfortunately only 2 responded to the request, so, which is fine, and they're both very, very capable, and MSBA is okay, so Ryan is going to follow that through tomorrow. I was at today's event with the Council on Aging, with the Friends of the Council at the high school for the lunch. That I sat with the Shaker Lane principal, and she is very, very excited for that. So the first thing that is going to be, there's a feasibility study, because there is that question whether it's going to be renovation or new construction, and so that will be done in I believe in June of next year. It takes that long for that to happen. This Thursday, we have our bond ratings call with the finance team in-house, and that is scheduled for Thursday morning, and we will be understanding exactly what needs to be, what they're expecting on the call on Thursday, and we'll be prepared with Robin, Kim, Ryan, and myself. And I will be starting over the next couple of weeks, now that weather is turned, start going around to I'll start going to the area businesses and going in, introducing myself, and listening to any concerns or anything like that. If there's any way that we can help out with individuals, with businesses, or messaging, you name it. You know, as my opinion will be, my approach will be, you know, don't be afraid, don't be shy, and if we can help, fantastic, we'll do that. Hats off to LCTV because of the rash of not only it happened here, but it's happened all around when people bomb a Zoom meeting, and obviously that reaction is automatically just to shut everything down, stop the meeting, and fold up and go away. Mark has conducted the training. Approximately 10 boards and commission heads attended that training. What, in the event that happens, what they need to do so they can continue with the business that they have for that evening. One thing I want to explain to everyone that was expressed this morning by the chief, that the details are going to be starting again up this summer, because there's so much construction, there's going to be a lot of that. And there was, and just please, everyone, please be patient. Development and construction is ugly, but it's a necessary evil that we all have to endure, but at the end of it, it'll be well worth it. So we just ask that people be a little patient. Fire department received a grant, $6,000 for car seats, and that's something that is exciting. The chief did not have an ETA for the seats, but that's what. But that we'll let everyone know of that. The library of their mini golf raised $13,000, which was fantastic. It was a great event, very, very well done. Hats off to Sam and his team, outstanding. And last but not, I'm sorry, two things. Memorial Day Parade. Our VSO, John Borowski, is involved in that and making sure that that's going to go off, and that will be another successful parade here in Littleton. And last but not least, the hats off to the police department, and to the chief and to the deputy chief and the team for the armed robbery that happened. An individual was apprehended in the state of Maine, but they work closely with other local and the state of Maine state police to help out with the arrest, which was fantastic. And that's about it.
All right. Yep, we do have a quorum of FinCom, so I guess come on up. We can get the
See?
joint part of our meeting.
See?
Perfect. No, good job.
Jim, while they're coming up, a couple questions on your update.
Yes, sir.
The bond call on Thursday
Yep.
is with S&P, Moody's?
S&P.
Thought so, okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
I had a question on, I know some of us were interviewed by the Department of Revenue.
Yes.
Is that have there been any more interviews for the town employees? Is that where they're kind of doing their own work now?
They're writing up their conclusions, and
Okay.
from what I understand, there are no other interviews scheduled.
Not right now. I think they did do a few other follow-up ones from after you, but I think they're pretty much done.
Just for us and the public knows that we requested that they come in to kind of review some of our processes, some of our structure, operations, mostly financial, how our financial work goes, but in general, for efficiencies and things like that the town, we're growing, we have a lot of boards and committees, and we're trying to make sure that we're going to continue to operate in an efficient manner, in a more efficient manner. So that's kind of what the deal are. They'll have some recommendations for us. Welcome, Finance Committee. We've got 5. Go. Oh, 4. Okay, sorry. But thank you for taking a minute. So we do have a quorum with Finance Committee, and this is the joint part of our meeting where we were going to discuss some of the town meeting articles that are still out there hanging. So without further ado, I guess...
Sure. Do you want to call it your meeting to order?
In order.
Okay. All right. Okay, so
Wave the wand.
the Select Board and Finance Committee have before you the current draft of the warrant. My apologies, I did not send this out to you beforehand, mainly because we were waiting on, I think I got some updates just mainly like an hour ago, things like that. It's that fluid a situation. Again, our goal is to be able to take this, get it to the printer tomorrow, and then have it out, sent out to every household in town 2 weeks before town meeting on May 7th. So, oh, my apologies, Jim. There you go. So, let's start off with, on the first page, to talk about the order. So we had talked a little bit about, all of this is a follow-up to the conversation we had at our last meeting on April 2nd. So first item I point out is that we threw in Article 3, which then means that the fiscal year 25 operating budget becomes Article 4, Brian? So
As God and the moderator intended.
yes, okay, so that's good. We also, per the request of the general manager of LALWD, who has another obligation, I pushed that up a little bit.
He did reach out to me.
So that was so the water enterprise and sewer enterprise budgets are Articles 5, 6, and 7. So you've seen those, it's just reordered a little bit on that front. We also talked about changing the order for the what were two marijuana articles. And one was the citizen petition from Mr. Sanders, who's in the back, and then the other one was the planning board's proposed limit of marijuana grow facilities. So since that time, you can see it's crossed out because the planning board has met last Thursday. There were 3 planning board articles that they were discussing. One was the MBTA communities. That is here, and that is now Article 13. The other 2 were the marijuana article we just discussed and the amendment of the King Street Common Zoning District. And so the feedback that we received from the town planner is that the marijuana dispensaries limitation is going to be pushed to probably the fall town meeting. They think they still want to come forward with it. They're just not ready now to come forward. And they did recommend the removal of the King Street Common. So that will help us if our goal, well, I don't know if it's a goal, but our hope is we can have town meeting done in one night by taking off those 2 articles, which would have taken up a little bit more time. So the citizen petition regarding cannabis then kicks up to middle of our agenda warrant at 17. And the total number of warrant articles is now at 33. I would also note, I've been talking with the town moderator, who is also here with us today. Of those 33 articles, we're looking at maybe 15 being on the consent agenda. Does that sound about right? That's right. Yeah, so we'll have that working in our favor as well. So that is pretty much where we are with the order. Does anyone have any questions about the order or any other thoughts on that front?
I've got some thoughts on 17 and 18 were moved up.
They were linked.
Because they were linked.
17 was moved, right.
So they were moved up, so I'd be inclined to discuss bringing the citizens petition back down to, the 30s. Either 31 or 34. Which actually won't be that with other articles being, you renumbered them already, okay. So that's my thought.
Anyone else?
Because one was kind of a precursor to the other, and now that's not the case.
Fair enough, yeah.
That's,
And we traditionally have the citizens petitions
At the end, yeah.
Although,
but because it was tied to a planning board,
yeah, no, I understand.
yeah, so that would be my suggestion.
And then maybe some discussion if that article actually passes. The discussion of that article might come back in November, might be irrelevant potentially if the town
Right.
votes that in the affirmative. The question could be had is due to, we might not need to have that other article come back in. But we'll see. I mean, that's planning what articles I'm not going to assume.
So that's just kind of off the jump. That's one that I would look at.
That's fine. Does anybody have any objections to that? We put it back, put it after Article 31?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I guess I would advocate for leaving it there. I think this is one of those citizens petition articles that's clearly been well-researched and written, and I think it addresses a need that we've heard several times from community members, and there seems to be no solution to. So I guess I would object to leaving it into the wee hours when there are very few people there to debate it and understand it.
My argument against that would be the reason it was there was because it was tied to the
I
plan.
know.
But, I mean...
It's also...
Citizens petitions are important. To your earlier point, we typically have those at the end of the agenda so that we can take care of the town's business.
I understand.
So that's the intent of a town meeting.
I guess I feel like this one is a bit of an outlier as far as a citizen petition in terms of the scope, the research that went into it, and the just the
No
professionalism
doubt.
of it.
Absolutely.
It's clearly well researched.
There's a lot.
And I think we have heard many times about the odor issues, and so
Well,
I
this-
won't die on the hill, but I guess I would leave it where it is. So.
But this would be tied directly to any new establishments.
Okay.
Because any other establishments are pre-existing non-conforming, if it was voted in, if they're non-conforming. So it's not going to fix anything that's in place right now, because you can't do a reach back.
Right. But it's still.
Karen, do you have any comments on that article, on movement of articles?
Oh,
Sorry.
we can't
We're
hear you.
muted again, sorry.
Apologies. I said I'm more in listening mode for this one, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So, yeah, again, I won't push it, but, so whatever the will of the board is, I guess. So I guess it's up to you, Gary, because Karen and I are more or less abstaining from this.
I'm comfortable with the order. I don't, you know, I guess the only, these citizens petition, are they all from the same resident? All
No.
three? They're not.
I don't, no, they're not.
That's the only other concern I have, why we're moving one away from the others.
It's 32 and 17 are from the same.
You know, I don't like to particularly do that, just because it's
Okay.
so maybe.
Fair enough. Then
That's-
we don't
that
have
would
to
be my
debate it.
only-
We don't have to debate it anymore.
Okay.
We can just do it. So move it to 31.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll move it right after 31, if that's right, which, so all three citizen petitions are together, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
that works.
good.
Thank you.
If this is not grandfathering the existing, I think we need to get that information out, because
You can't change zoning and then go back and,
But you need to, we need to make sure people
Yeah, that's a good
understand
point.
that.
right,
real good point.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's-
Should we vote on the order now?
Sure, sure.
So,
Is that,
That
is
would
everybody
be-
good with,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
only change?
yep, that's the only change?
I mean, you guys have input, I mean, we respect your input, so any thoughts? Or-
No, I mean,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Stepping on your toes.
I defer to you guys on this. I mean, we can vote on the, the financial stuff, but as far as order goes, I don't think
Okay.
that really matters to me.
All set?
Yeah.
Move that the select board approve the order of articles for the town meeting warrant as listed in the packet with the, as amended tonight, moving Article 17 to position 31.
32.
Beg pardon,
Yep.
30,
Well, it would actually
no,
be-
it would be 31.
Would it be well,
Because 17 will be coming out.
Oh,
so
right,
it's
right,
just
right,
like-
okay, you're right.
the warrant carry
Okay,
to-
noted that.
As amended.
As amended. Thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a move by Matthew, second by Chuck, with a roll call vote. We have a member online. Karen?
I'm going to abstain from this one. I don't have the handout in front of me, so
Oh, apologies. Okay.
It's
it's a little hard to
Just in
follow.
the order of the.
Yeah, it would just, okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
Chuck goes aye.
and I'm an aye as well. So
Okay.
Make it so, thank you.
Okay. All right, so that's the order. We can start to go through the document, and I tried to highlight where we had changes from the last time.
Yeah, I would
So-
suggest just doing the ones to highlight. That's
Yep,
the
yep,
plan?
that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think we need to recap every.
I promise not to. How's that?
I appreciate that.
Okay. So one thing of note, I didn't highlight this, but the Finance Committee report is in the document now. So we have to update a few more fonts, but otherwise that's in. Steve provided that to me this weekend. We're going to put in the budget summary. And so as we go through, Article 5 is highlighted because we changed the order. Article 6 is highlighted because we changed the order. And Article 7 is same, and we changed the order there. There might be just a quick thing, we're kind of going back and forth with the table. Steve Venuti had asked us about the amount that is, if you take Article 7, for example, the amount we're asking for is $698,249, and then putting another $200,000 of sort of betterment toward our bottom line. So it's just a question of how you account for it. In this version, we don't have it in the actual table, but we are accounting for it in the motion. So I think it's tomato, I feel like you do with the numbering, whatever we need to do, so we may come back to that. So if it does get tweaked, we should know by tomorrow. So
what's going to be the easiest for members, town meeting members to?
I think that functionally, Chuck, both approaches work. So I have an email out to the finance team and kind of getting their opinion.
Yeah.
Basically, town council has opined that either is acceptable. So we're just sort of, it's just to say that the final form of this, I might just wait on. You're essentially, you've already approved of these articles, so it's just a matter of what the table then reflects. So if they want to reflect a betterment or not, that's all. So, but that's pretty much where that is. Next up, Article 8. We have added that Article 8 is now the Community Preservation Committee, and prospectively, their recommendation. I would note that we've added that at the bottom, that the Community Preservation Committee recommendation is forthcoming, and the motion will be made on the floor of town meeting. Just to remind everybody, we're waiting on the appraisal, which I believe is scheduled to come back on May 1st, and at that point, we'll be having a further conversation first with the property owner, and if it's an acceptable number to the property owner, then a subsequent conversation with the CPC, and there'll be a substitute motion on the floor of town meeting on that one.
I will just want to hold that for a second. I know the Websters are in the, is there any, did you have any discussion you needed relevant to that? Everything?
Here to listen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that's Article 8. Article 9, I believe we had some language, or I added some language here just to try to flesh out a little bit more about what we were looking to do with the match. So just to read for everyone what we have highlighted, this article increases the base for CPC matching state funds. The proposed $287,136 contribution represents a supplemental addition of approximately 0.75% of the town's projected FY25 CPA surcharge. The town has pursued this strategy in prior fiscal years, and this approach is considered a best fiscal practice with the objective of maximizing state matching funds for utilization on future CPA projects. So that's
great, because this follows what we said we were going to do at the end of last meeting. So
that's right.
It's nice to see us. Not that we don't always do it, but it's nice to see we said we'd do a thing and we didn't do anything.
All right. So if that language is acceptable, we can keep moving through. Article 10 had a conversation today, I think it was with the town moderator, who had a good recommendation on this, that we had in the Webster property as a TBD, but what he suggested, and I think I'm making my recommendation to you tonight, is that if the Webster parcel, is an acceptable amount to the Websters, then we would have a substitute motion for Article 10. If it is not, then the article as it's currently drafted here could go forward on its own.
So the substitute would have the debt service for the Webster.
That's right, that's right. So, but if it doesn't, then we don't have to change anything, and then we don't, I think the earlier version of this I had TBD, which is, so it's just, just a way to expedite it should that happen. So that's a little bit of a change. Let's see, we have the new map. Thank you, Matthew, we put that in for, this is Article 11 for the Nagog Hill, the Select Board / Nagog Hill Orchard Ad Hoc Working Group. Essentially, the language has not changed, but we did have a good map. And I would also note, and this is not highlighted, but the Nagog Hill Orchard Ad Hoc Working Group met, I believe, last Friday and made a recommendation for this article as well. So it's not highlighted here, but it's the Select Board and Nagog Hill Orchard Ad Hoc Working Group recommend this article. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that is in the, yes, I agree, that depiction of the property did help me a lot, just kind of visualize, so I think that it was a necessary component.
And this was based on the appraisal we did last fall. So this is, as far as we know, the most accurate lot plan that we can come up with all the information we have.
So it breaks out the parts of land that'll go back, well, not go back, stay with the town as a protected conservation space, usable space.
Yep.
And the parcels that will remain on this.
That would be part of the sale.
Okay.
And then there are two excluded from the APR parcels, which are the barn and the upper barn and the house.
My understanding is the barn now.
The barn is going to be now, it's not yet, but it will be a part of the APR. The house, we are trying to get a historical preservation restriction on at this time.
Yeah, I guess, I'm sorry to even talk, but we have had a lot of conversation on those two pieces, so that it's great that the barn is becoming part of that, because that's a critical piece to be protected as well. But the house, I had a discussion with a few members here. I'm curious on historical protection of that. My opinion is I didn't want to hinder, is it truly a historical building? Will it hinder someone that can utilize that facility to become part of the operational? In other words, you can put a restriction on it that could really hinder, because it needs a lot of work, right?
Yeah. But I think we can also put a restriction on it, like the Robinson House, that leads to, the exterior envelope and the appearance.
Okay.
And, we have pretty good information that it is historical.
Okay. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, the foundation is, early 1700s.
So
The bulk of the house is probably early 1800s.
Okay, that's historical.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, we good?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no, that's good.
Little detour.
No, that's
Karen, do you have
good
anything to
detour.
add on that article? Good, everything covered?
Does she have this?
It's good.
Do you have this? Probably not, right?
Right, yeah. My apologies, Karen,
Yeah.
this was printed out just minutes before the meeting started, so.
Do you have it electronically? Could you email it to her?
I've got it electronically.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's another meeting for the Orchard Group coming up, isn't there?
Yes, we have a meeting on Wednesday night, and we have a public information session on Thursday, April 25th.
25th.
All right.
Which I encourage everyone to attend, because we do want a lot of input about what is going to be in our RFP
Yep.
that we're going to issue. So it's very important that we get everybody's input.
Okay, so Karen, you may not have this, but I think you can pretty much follow through. This is, in Article 12 is the funding of the Indian Hill Music School. From our last conversation with the joint meeting, I think the consensus among both boards was that if we can put a number into the warrant with a recommendation, we'd have a better chance. It would help our chances on town meeting, and it also was consistent with what we had sought to do when we went out to bid, and the timing of that. So what I've handed to everybody, I think the Finance Committee should have this. The first column is vertex adjustments for 28-23, which is basically where we were 1 year ago and what we thought our estimated costs would be. And the next column is where we are today with the bids that we have in hand, as well as what the other pieces, which those in the trade call the soft costs. So there's the construction part of it, which is the hard cost, and then the other parts of the soft costs. So just to walk everybody through this, we're starting off here on the administrative side of things. This is things such as, let me make sure I'm in the right start here. I'm sorry, page one. I do have it numbered. So page 1, we're going to start off with project management, our OPM, which is Owner's Project Manager. Any project that's over $1.5 million, the state requires us to basically have an OPM on site and working with us. So we have both an OPM and an architect. So we have the two contracts we've executed so far are basically $47,567 with Vertex as our OPM, and LLB is our architect. That contract was executed for $196,180. So both those contracts have already been signed. We received at our fall town meeting $400,000 for basically for the administration of and the design and to get out to bid the Indian Hill renovation project. So we basically already have some of that. We already have that funding in place.
Right. I have a question. How many copies of this do you have? Do you have a lot of copies of it?
I have a few more. Yeah.
Is anyone I know if someone is here in the public that's here to speak potentially to that article in public session, please, you're welcome to have one of these. It's not, I'm sure.
Yeah, you want to do it. So,
I know it's hard to follow.
Yep. So, and again, we sort of ran out. This was talking with the OPM literally an hour ago, trying to make sure we had everything right because of the timing of it. So, So with that said, we have some of the key elements already under contract, and as you can see, when you look at the OPM, the actual costs look like they'll be a little bit lower. There's another allocation in terms of what they anticipate they will need, because we're going to need a construction site manager on site. We do have an advantage with Vertex because they are also our site manager for next door with the senior center, so they're able to actually have somebody here that we think we can sort of, because the
Double duty.
well, a lighter duty, and they're already in town. We think we can save a little money with that, and so the cost, at least the estimate at this point, reflects that.
I noticed there's a line item here for construction admiration.
Oh, admiration! That was administration.
Yes. Vertex.
It's important to know.
Yes,
But
thank you.
$81,000 for
Thank you. That
admiration
didn't catch the
seems-
spell check, because admiration is actually correctly spelled.
I
so
assume that's
He's
administration.
channeling
That's
his-
administration,
channeling his
right?
mark over there.
And that's an estimate from LLB. So
Got it.
that 135,000 and the 81,000 is what we would, if we were to move forward, what we would have in additional cost in terms of administering the project, and that is a little less than what we anticipated the budget would be.
Nice catch, Mark.
So other pieces, specialty services are, we already did we decided not to do cost estimates on this, and really what we've seen and what you will see when you go through this, that where we were with the bids were pretty much spot on with what the estimate had us last year at this time. So flipping the page and going to page 2, we have some of these are expenses we've already incurred. Advertising in the Project Dog, it's basically the place where we advertise our bids. We received an update today from Maya in terms of what the builder's risk insurance would be. It was significantly higher than what we thought it would be. At least right now the estimate's in at $40,000, but we're hoping that might be less once we actually contract with that. When we look at administration, it's a little bit higher than when we were. Now we start to get into construction, the hard costs. So last week we received 2 bids, and the low bid that we have is the local firm, Classic Construction. So they're the low bidder on this project. So they came back, and we estimated it to be close to about 2.1 million about a year ago, and this is $2,180,000. That number is inclusive of the ad alternate for the roof replacement. We estimate that the sub bid was the roofer on this, and it's about $189,000 for that, and you'll see that when we get down a little further on this. So in essence, the construction costs were really close to what we thought they would be 1 year ago, a little bit more than that, well, a little less than a year ago. So that's heartening and great to see. We were also able to flesh out, when you move your way down, some more with some of our furnishings. We feel good about that quote. We've got a little bit more with wiring and fiber costs, because we have to extend fiber to the building so that we connect to our other systems. We've got computer and technology. Most of the staff, in terms of those computers, would be bringing over their own current PCs. We wouldn't be looking to do any upgrade there. Same thing goes with a lot of the furniture, so their desk furniture, things like that, but some of the fit out downstairs where the kids' room will be, we'll be putting newer items there to flush that out. And then we also have our security contract that's there as well. So again, overall, we're really close with that. Last component that we're looking at is contingencies. So it is the recommendation of our OPM and architect that we carry a little bit more for contingency. One of the questions that we have is that our HVAC system, there's multiple subcomponents of that HVAC system, most of which are at the end of their useful life. I believe when we turned on the heat for this past winter, there because we had to keep a base level heat to keep our fire suppression system running. I think there's nine components or 9 subcomponents, and of that, 4 wouldn't fire up. So we didn't really research it that much, but it just knew that there would be, some work needed to be done on that. We were still able to heat the whole building with the other units, but at a baseline. But we know, or are concerned that if we're going to do this, that we want to be able to upgrade what needs to be done at that time. So if we look at our bottom line of where we were here under project total design and construction phases, last year we were at $3,250,922, and now we're at about 4% higher than that. When you factor in inflation, it's about right, and that's at $3,381,047. I would note that number is inclusive of the roof replacement sub-bid. So we do have the option to remove that from the project, but the reason we put that in there is I think that we thought at the time that number would be closer to 300, maybe 350. And actually, the bid here is a pretty darn attractive bid for us, and it was the recommendation, my call today, with our OPM and architect and knowing what the pricing was, to say that if the town can keep this in, they should be thinking about that, because the roof was put in '91 and is sort of reaching the end of its useful life. So if we were to have to do this project again, it would certainly cost much more as a standalone for us. So if you keep looking down on the pink column here, we've already contracted with LLB and Vertex. Those are the pieces here on page 1 that are already accounted for. But as I said at the beginning, our original allocation was $400,000, so we have essentially another $156,000 roughly available to us. So when we subtract that out, what we think we would be asking of town meeting to do all of the renovation, inclusive of the roof replacement, would be just under $3 million at $2,981,047. So that's where we're at. We received 2 bids. I think it helps having Classic be the low bidder. They're local. They do very good work. They've done a lot of work with Vertex, our OPM, before. And, it's really, I guess the big picture, the number we're looking at now isn't that much different than what we were looking at a little under a year ago.
Surprising, actually.
And, I think it's a good place. It's a good place for us to be. I think again, having Classic be the low bidder is even better. And so
knowing the cost of the new facility.
Right.
We're looking at one right now. We know it's sub.
And so the language, just to note, the language that I then updated this with is, per the discussion we had, is to put in a transfer from the Capital Stabilization Fund of $3 million, which is just a little north of where we are here at the end cost. And then I did flesh out under the second paragraph a little bit more about where we're at and how we got there.
Okay.
Just a quick question, make sure I'm doing math the right way. So if we look at total project, it's coming in at 3.881047.
381.
No, total project. If you count the building, we have all these other numbers in there, but if you say,
Okay.
how much did Indian Hill cost us?
So
3.5 plus the 3.3, right?
So if it's 3 point,
So it'd be 6.
3.4 essentially, yeah. Right,
Okay, so
that's right.
3.9 million. 6.9 million.
6.9,
Right,
that's
with the purchase of
that's the right
Good.
math, Alvin. That's the right.
It is now.
Yeah.
Wasn't there another alternate bid you were getting for?
There was also the solar tubes, which I think actually ended up folding into, I think that, Jerry, I think that folded in with the roof as well.
Oh, okay.
So that would be included within that.
What portion of the capital stabilization fund does this consist of?
So we had so keep in mind when we at the fall town meeting, we knew that we would be moving, we asked for $4.4 million transfer into the capital stabilization fund. So the thinking was the $400,000 would be for design, and $4 million, well, we hoped we wouldn't get close to that for Indian Hill, was sort of a placeholder into the fund. So I think we have something else in here, Matthew, in terms of where the balance is, but the balance is also presuming that we were going to use all $4 million. So I'm going to say, I think I have it under the capital article, but we've essentially already planned for it, and what this would allow us to do is, instead of requiring a transfer of $4 million, we would transfer only $3 million, and then the other $1 million stays in there for us.
For future capital stabilization.
For future capital projects, yeah.
Ryan, I'm wondering if in the actual article, while $3 million is a nice round number, 2.981 feels like such a better number.
Okay.
29999. We can do that.
Because coming in, it lets us legitimately say,
Same thought.
coming in
That's
under
fine.
3.
Yep, that's
Because
fine.
we had feared
Yes.
4.
yes.
I think this table had expected another number, so being able to say we came in, it's like we
No,
did
no, no.
anything,
Sub
but
three,
coming in, I'd put the actual number, because it
That's
just
fine.
feels
I think that's fine.
better. Any further?
Just going back to the HVAC that you were talking about, Ryan, is the thought that we might have to replace the system?
Well, it's really sort of subsystems within it. So so it really isn't just like one system. There are certain components of the system that are powering or providing service to different elements of the building. There are probably, in all likelihood, elements of that system that need subcomponents that need to be replaced.
But we're not sure yet?
We did have a vendor look at it, and they've given us, until such point that we're really in and that we know definitively, once we start working with the systems, that we would be saying, okay, you really have to look under the engine. If you're talking about replacing components to get a longer life out of some of this, then yes, you can make that work. And that's probably what our approach would be. Because if we can do that and extend the useful life of some of these subsystems, we should do that, so it's just a variable at this point that we didn't also have an HVAC vendor also, that was one of our sub bids, but we didn't have anyone who actually ended up bidding on that, which means that the general contractor then has an allowance in there for it, but we'll have to then basically identify someone they're willing to work with on that.
It kind of goes to my question. So I'm just questioning why we're increasing the contingency rather than increasing the base construction cost, if that's, but is it because, is it because we haven't assessed it yet and don't?
Well, yeah, I think it's, we've assessed it, but not probably at the level for which, until they start getting in there and really, the vendor really starts getting in and making specific recommendations for each unit, we're just not going to know. Keep in mind too, whatever we keep with the contingency that we don't spend gets, is going to, and again, we'll rescind the article and, probably put it back to the capital stabilization.
That happened with the one that came in a little under.
Yeah, so that would be the goal. It's just, as with any renovation too, we have to keep some sort of contingency because there are always going to be components for which you don't expect.
Okay. Just one more, easy one probably. What's the difference between construction contingency and owner's project contingency?
Right, so the construction contingency is just that for when we have change orders that we say, you get in and somebody says, okay, well, maybe you're changing a different finish or different lighting, so there's that. And then, and I think that the owner's project contingency is basic. It's other variables that we end up running into. I think you can kind of approach it as an overall, kind of an overall approach, contingency for the entire project. Things they hadn't necessarily designed, not necessarily design admissions, but maybe them working with the firm and saying, listen, you could take, the plans say X, but if you do Y, it might be a little bit more, but you're going to be able to save some money over the long run. So there's so many decisions that come up when you actually, again, lift the proverbial hood of this and then start getting into the details. So
And that's standard for a project like this?
it is.
So we have that on the senior center?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
I did want to reach out to Tim. I know, Mr. Moderator, I know you had to
Thank
comment.
you, Mr. Chairman. I spoke earlier today with Maya, and because this article has changed to a transfer from a specific available fund, which is fine if that's what we're going to do, and we know that's where the money's going to come from. But it also means you can't change your mind at town meeting and say, you know what, we're going to borrow it, or we're going to raise it through taxation. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of times
Changes the
you kind of
article.
hedge your bets when you say we're going to raise and appropriate, transfer and or borrow, to kind of give yourself the flexibility in the warrant language.
Yeah.
At town meeting, you've got to, in the motion, it's got to be specific.
It opens the four corners.
Yeah, so you're committing to a specific means of funding it, which is fine if everybody is agreed that that's the way we're doing it.
Yeah.
You don't have to,
That was the
what I'm
intent of
saying is
the
you
fall.
don't have to do that. You can give yourself the flexibility still.
Yeah.
You can still put the amounts in the warrant, but
Yep.
give yourself
And I think and it's a good suggestion. We talked about it, and the only reason that I had the limitations on it is that I want to make sure that the taxpayers know that this is not going to be coming, this is some monies that are already raised that we'd be looking at consistent with what we talked about before among the two
I think
boards.
this
so.
is, I think your point is well taken. I think, though, that this is a case where we don't actually want the flexibility. I mean, maybe we get burned, but we set specific money aside.
yeah,
It's,
that's fine.
so,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah,
But-
I agree.
because then
We've-
it's not up for debate.
And we've been consistent with what we've said, which is important in this case.
So
If we know it, yeah, that's
to
fine.
Tim's point, however, I think it's good practice to go in with all mechanisms in play, but make an amendment, a friendly amendment on the floor and say, we committed to do it this way, so, I mean, it just, I don't know.
It's just it gives you flexibility, but if it was the other way, I'd be more concerned. If we locked ourselves into raise and appropriate, then existing money that we've already done that with, I'm more comfortable saying,
Yeah. Well, if it's not a possibility, then I wouldn't,
yeah.
that's why I said, why.
The worst thing that could happen is this article gets shot down, and then here we go another 6 months to another town meeting, right? Because
It won't pass. It won't pass if we, if it's a debt exclusion or raising.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Right.
No,
Okay, well,
no,
that's-
we don't, and I understand about friendly amendments. I don't even want to open the door to amendments.
I'm
I mean,
okay.
it'll
Yeah,
happen,
I
whatever's
just-
going to happen.
I
will
appreciate
happen.
the looking out.
Yeah,
Yeah, and transfer's not super as well either, so.
Thanks, Max. I actually,
Yeah, this is a
That's something I
simple
didn't-
simple majority.
Borrowing would be two-thirds.
For that reason alone, we should leave it
Yeah,
alone.
we should leave it as is.
absolutely.
Can I ask as a follow-up to that? And this is, under the description, I could add another sentence to, because I did mention November 1st special town meeting, the 400,000 we voted, but I could also mention that we also set aside $4 million into the capital stabilization fund for projects such as this. Maybe just adding a sentence to that end, would that be helpful?
Well, I'd say we set aside 4 million specific for this specific project, and we're coming, and oh my God, we're coming in.
Well, more than $1 million under
Yes,
that.
yes, absolutely. I think.
well, I don't want to get into that because, we initially thought it was going to be $1 million, right? 4 years ago, a couple years
That
ago.
was all.
But so I don't want to get into that part because it's not that it's disingenuous, but I guess we all thought we were going to come in a lot less. And then
Right.
I think I'm just trying to get
COVID
to
and everything
Matthew's question, though, about like, okay, if we're taking money out, then does that, it really, it doesn't mean that that it empties out the whole account. I think that's really kind of what
I think to your point, what you're trying to get at is, we put this money aside, and we're actually asking for slightly less, and now maybe we don't crow about it, but we are coming in less.
Yeah.
Related, and FinCom, you all get to have your own opinion. I think keeping the roof, doing a roof for 189, I'd say keep it in, but y'all can please weigh in on that. Would that be something that town meeting could say, take that out.
I guess theoretically, so, we're asking for funding, and then if they want to change the funding amount, then to remove that, they could, because we won't execute the contract until we have the funding in place. So theoretically, they still could.
So someone could amend the article to remove the 189,000 from the total
They could,
allocated.
But it's these board's recommendation to keep it in there
Yeah.
because it's obviously gave a good explanation why we
Right,
want it.
right. I think they-
Just trying to anticipate what's allowed.
If we were over the 4 million mark, I'd be much more skeptical on.
Oh.
All right, let's,
And it might,
it's got 5 years left in it, well, a year or something.
it may make sense to have Brian in the room.
I
the open
guess, yep, that's fine.
To,
yeah.
to, field some of these questions and
Sure.
sell it, to let people know that we fully anticipated the roof was gonna cost 300 or more. And the fact that it came in at 189 is, with the tubes.
And quote what some of
He's
the other roofs
professional.
that we're doing are.
Yeah.
So,
Are we given this level of detail at town meeting?
I wasn't planning on it. We may do a summary, Alvin, maybe some, of it, but not that level of detail. I just know that, the reason I wanted to provide it with the 2 columns was that you have a perspective from when we had that meeting before town meeting last year. So really showing you from point A to point B where we are.
I would
I agree with you.
I would ask that this gets uploaded with our packet just so that public can see this. Because this is I know it's a working draft. but
Yeah,
I think
no, I mean, it's working to the extent that was working on it, again, an hour before the meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, this is-
If this is the number that you agreed to, then this is the budget.
This is
Yeah.
part of this meeting, so this is.
Yeah, so until
Yeah, we
such
need
point
this to-
that
that's
you
all, we need
fund
a
it,
part of the
right,
packet.
right.
so,
Yeah.
the first FinCom, any thoughts on the roof, including, excluding?
I think we should.
I think it should be included.
Keep the higher number.
Okay. Do we have any because,
Regarding this.
I mean, we're looking for a vote, right?
Yeah, a recommendation, correct, from both boards.
Before we get on the road, I had a comment I wanted to
I
get
have
in.
one public comment too, so I want to address both.
Ryan, you were talking about the HVAC units and, of the 9 of the units were questionable?
Well, no, there's like total of 9 units. I
Only
think
4 fired up.
4 of the 9 were
Okay, so
having-
when we did the evaluation, when a professional came in and took a look
Right,
at them, they were looking at the possibility of replacing probably 2 units, possibly 4 units.
I think roughly speaking, yeah.
So it's kind of flipped. So it's only 4 fired up out of.
No, it's 5 fired, 4.
No, 5 fired up and then, yeah,
4
right,
did not.
right. So 4 we were having the issue with, so,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, and again, so when they get in, they may say, okay, you only, if we can, one of the other difficult things is finding parts for, a 1991 circa unit.
Well, some of those were replaced
Definitely.
intermittently
Some of
by
them
Indian
were.
units. Some of those
By them,
newer units,
so,
absolutely,
right,
yeah.
right.
But I mean, those were all functional.
Yeah, well,
A year and a half ago. Some of them are limping,
some of the limping, but yes, that's
just from
right,
my
yeah.
conversations with the
Yep,
director.
that sounds
and-
about right, yeah. I guess it's.
So, on an interim basis, I think we can continue to limp to some extent,
Right,
and
right.
then look for ways to fund it.
Yeah, either which way, whatever amount we have, that's our limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's our limit, so we wouldn't go beyond that, so.
Thank you.
Karen, you wave your hands if you ever want to speak in. Sometimes I forget you're there, so just, if you need to speak, let me know, please.
Just call Gary's cell phone.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders, did you want to speak to this article?
Mr. Chairman, George Sanders, 682 Great Road. I think you need to keep the roof and this contract here. And the other thing that I did not see in here was, what about the parking lot? I've seen nothing in there about any blacktop repair or anything for, it looked pretty bad up there. So I'm just wondering, was that simply omitted or what?
Yeah, I think that was,
And I also wanted to commend the town administrative office there for the job you've done here in keeping this thing down low. I think we have a pretty good deal here.
Thank you.
If I could, Mr. Chair, George is right. We didn't put anything in for the driveway. It's not in perfect shape, but in the spirit of trying to come back to town meeting with really focusing on the building and taking care of the building envelope more than anything else, that was the focus. So I think also to keep in mind that there may be, that in our initial plans, we talked about maybe doing something in the back. I think we looked at plans about Parks and Rec was looking at potentially pickleball courts in the back at some point. So then maybe that could be, the idea was that we might be viewed as part of a broader plan. But at this point, I didn't want to come back to town meeting with anything that would be outside really the scope of the building itself, George, to tighten things up. Does that answer your question?
Great comment, though.
Okay.
Thanks for the comment, George.
I think we're open to a motion.
Make a motion that we recommend Article 12.
Did we already?
Second.
We already have.
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes.
I make a motion that the select board recommends Article 12.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, second by Chuck. Karen?
Aye.
Aye.
Chuck Twist, aye.
And I'm aye as well.
Thank
Good work on that.
Thank you, everyone.
And I want to echo what Mr. Sanders said. Way to go, everybody involved in getting it done at the number, getting it done now, so we have a chance to calmly, deliberatively. So excellent job all around.
Yeah, and it'll be in the warrant
Before
too,
print.
with the new number.
Yes, yes,
Just
and-
underneath, that is a good suggestion. So no,
I think we said after the last one, we really need to come back to town meeting with a firm bid, and we did that, which is,
Excellent.
yeah, this is great.
Yeah, and I think I will check to see if we can get somebody from Vertex as well to come to town meeting, and that we can provide, probably Alvin, this gets into too much detail, but more of a stripped down version of this, I think, but I think showing the comparison, because that's really the last point of perspective as to when the FinCom and Select Board were really looking at that. So we can do that as well.
Excellent.
All right. Article 13, this is the new language for the MBTA community zoning. The primary piece here is a lot of yellow, but that is key thing here. We're going to have a new map tomorrow. Our consultant's working on that. I think we're supposed to get that tonight. But the key difference here is that we've got two new parcels, 295 and 305 Foster Street. So for those of you who remember at the last town meeting, it was controversial because we only had one parcel. This is in response to the survey that the planning board put out, as well as the workshop that we had in this room that some of you participated in. And so this reflects that new understanding. We also, and this was a suggestion by Jim, which I think is really good. We also took the language from the Attorney General's office, the question and answer regarding MBTA communities that we wanted that we thought would be useful for people who are unfamiliar with this as a concept. So basically, it's not a full cut and paste because they had some they had some links to other components within it, so I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And that if anybody were, so that even if you didn't attend town meeting, you at least know the basics about what MBTA zoning is and why we're coming forward to town meeting this second time with the hope of moving this forward. So the highlight is that the planning board recommends the article. It really doesn't impact either of these boards, because presumably you wouldn't be making a recommendation, but at the same time, that is your option.
To Brian's previous point, though, it does, if we don't vote for it, it does impact finances.
Right, so this actually is a question for the moderator. So FinCom generally doesn't opine on planning board articles, but the consequence of this not passing has potentially catastrophic fiscal impacts for grants. So we have debated whether we want to say recommend, or I think what Steve had suggested instead was, with your permission at the town meeting, that, especially when we get to section 11, what happens if we fail to comply, that you let probably Steve get up and say, nothing much, we just lose $5 to $10 million worth of grants. So if you're okay with letting us speak to that.
Yeah, no, it's a significant fiscal impact. And,
Right.
I mean, then I think,
duty to report to town meeting, I think, yeah.
Okay.
then I would suggest a recommendation. If you're going to speak to it, you probably should have a recommendation to it as well then.
I think we've all wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I have a personal opinion on, yes, we can give a recommendation, but we also, there is another bite at the apple, so to speak, in November. If this absolutely failed, and I don't think it will, I think people now are in tune with this, but that's when I would definitely want a recommendation, because then we're absolutely.
But then you're painting a corner. And this,
We are
there's been a fair amount of public input.
Okay, yeah, I'm willing to do either. I mean, if people want to give a recommendation here. I know a lot of work went into this. I thought we went over the survey. I think it's,
My opinion is this is the first time we've presented an article on this topic, which legitimately seems to be representing the input from the
will of
residents.
people, yeah.
And so therefore, I would like to recommend this from the select board. I do think it's important to the town.
I agree with you, Matthew.
Beyond the planning board's purview. I think that does have impacts down the line as far as zoning, as far as grants. So
okay.
I would be very comfortable recommending this on this warrant.
So if we're,
Sounds like we-
so I'm open to a motion, folks?
I would make a motion that the Finance Committee recommends Article 12? 13.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay.
Awesome.
If I may, through the chair. Brian, you also, you bring up a great point about the financial impact, but it snowballs even more.
Every year.
Because that Mass Works grant that would potentially be in jeopardy, we're looking at 550 King Street of how many tens of millions of dollars of an investment would be in jeopardy.
Right, I think we will
Yeah.
use the word catastrophic, because it would be.
Definitely.
What?
Definitely icky.
Yeah, I think enough discussions have been had on this, and I know there'll be people that want to speak to it, but I believe the second round, I believe it should have failed in November. I think this discussion we've had over the last 6 months has been necessary. I think people are a little more understanding of what could happen if. We don't have to be comfortable with it. I know nobody's comfortable with more housing necessarily when we have such big projects, but this is where we're at, and there is catastrophic financial
Consequences, yeah.
So are you comfortable with the recommendation from
I'll
this
look for
board?
it,
Okay.
yeah.
I move that the select board recommend Article 13.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, seconded by Chuck. Karen, we didn't ask you how you felt on this, so we do have a motion.
Yep, Karen Morrison, aye.
Aye, Matthew?
Matthew votes yes.
Chuck?
Chuck DeCosta.
And I'm an aye as well. So we have three, we will have now 2 recommendations on top of the plan.
Yeah, Tom, and I would say to you too, I mean, having that, in the document that then is mailed out only helps the chances for this to go through, that there is unanimous, that people are unanimous in their support of the change.
All right, thank you.
And, I'd also want to give credit to Mara and to Hill for this too, and the work that it's taken her and the planning board to get it to this point. So, it's been a lot of work to readjust and get the public's perspective. So, do kudos to Mara and Cooper, her assistant.
Yeah, it's hard enough when we're putting pressure on her, and then we get the state putting pressure on it. Changes it.
Right. So thank you. So really no other changes other than the order with Article 17, which is the citizen petition, which we're now going to bump back again. So that's no other changes on that front. Article 18 is now going to be deleted. That is the planning board marijuana article, which again, their hope is to come back in the fall. They just want a little bit more time to work on that. So that'll be coming back. It's really, the other articles aren't really changing, or recommendations are not changing.
And 34 is going away.
And 34 is going away. So I think that's it. So I did have a simple motion, because the only other thing, we've made our recommendations, we've we haven't assigned the articles, but we have more time for that.
Yeah.
I think maybe considering the hour and everything that we could do that. But if I do need to, if I could, Mr. Chair, have you to, again, do the other approvals for this, I would appreciate it. So basically, it's, here's, that would be the motion of where we are. So it's
We did that.
So it's moved that the select board approve the order articles, which you've done,
Yep.
and then also the other piece is to basically
I see.
anything else, just insert so from
Okay.
that, Matthew, if you could, and you can skip the
Order.
the recommendations.
I know.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the recommendations.
insert.
Yes, the insert, yes. Recommendations, yes, and then the assign articles. That's who's going to be responsible for which articles and who in the select board typically would speak to it.
Okay.
We can do that at a later meeting. But everything else you'd want to have.
And so we are inserting articles
You
tonight?
just
to be
yeah,
Structurally.
yeah.
So I move that the select board approve inserting articles as listed above, make recommendations on articles as discussed at this meeting, approve and sign the May 7th, 2024 annual town meeting warrant for posting, and approve of the May 7th, 2024 annual town meeting warrant report and warrant as amended, subject to approval as to form by town council.
Second.
By Matthew, second by Chuck. Roll call vote, Karen?
Aye.
Aye.
Chuck goes down. Aye as well. Great work, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, FinCom.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Aye, we're adjourned.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. See you on May 7th.
Yeah.
Peace out.
It's been a long season.
This has been great. Kudos to,
That's
I
a
mean-
lot of work.
and very cooperative.
Yes.
Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Finance
Thanks for
Committee.
coming out
Thank
tonight,
you.
too.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move right along. That was a little quicker than I thought, so that's good. I'm going to fall back to, let's go, all right, pretty good. Let's get our member updates out of the way if I could. Matthew.
So as I mentioned earlier, the Nagog Orchard, we do have a warrant article. It's very important that we get input from the town on the residents. We are going to issue an RFP in the after town meeting, and that is, our recommendation is that the town sell the agricultural preservation restriction portions of the orchard. We need input from the residents on what the priorities in terms of criteria that we're looking for in a purchaser. And as a result, we're having a public information session on Thursday, April 25th in this room, the Sturts Room at the Reuben Hoare Library. I believe it's at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And I really hope that people attend. Also, the Nagog Orchard Working Group is having a meeting this Wednesday, which I believe is the 10th of April. And the public is welcome to attend that as well. And that's the only update I have this week.
Okay, thank you. Karen, did you have any?
Yep. So what Matthew said about all orchard things, and then in addition, there is a garlic mustard pull coming up, and that is on Saturday, April 13th from 2 to 5 p.m. in Fay Park. Garlic mustard is an invasive plant. If everyone listening or watching isn't familiar with it, and it's a great community-wide effort to help eradicate the town from an invasive plant that kind of wreaks havoc if it's left without anyone trying to get rid of it. And let's see, I attended the planning board meeting last week.
You survived?
And was able to listen to the deliberations on the MBTA Communities Act, among others, and my vote reflects my appreciation for the planning board's deliberations and careful consideration of the town's input on that article. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Jim kind of stole a little bit of my thunder relative to the LPD, and no, it's okay. No, it's worth repeating. Everybody saw on the news that there was a armed robbery at the gas station, I don't even know what it is anymore, mobile station, the car wash.
Old timers call it Wayside.
And Sergeant Boussier responded that evening, got a great description of the vehicle and the suspect, and turned it over to the detective unit, and Detective O'Donoghue did a great job of
the whole team
piecing everything together, and then working, getting that information out on a bolo, be on the lookout, and which helped the Maine State Police, and they got it under the wire to be able to apprehend the woman. Also, this past Saturday night, Friends of Littleton Veterans held another successful trivia night. It was a great night. People from all walks of life show up at it, and it's great to see a great community event and seeing everybody come together. And the Friends of Littleton Veterans do a lot of good for a lot of people. So that's one of the ways that they raise the funds in order to help people. So thank you to everybody that came out. Thank you to Maureen Woods and Emery Krause and Kerry. I know it's not Romley anymore, but Kerry Romley. Her husband, Dan. So thank you very much to everybody. And again, Littleton always shows up and pitches in. So it's good.
Yeah.
Good event.
Good. Yeah. Talked about the Memorial Day Parade. We still got plenty of time for that. We got a lot between now and then, I know. Groundbreaking, EHS. So we have a groundbreaking finally. It looks like we're going to have a day like today from all the forecast is correct. So tomorrow, is it 4 p.m.?
4 o'clock.
Tomorrow, 4 p.m., we have a groundbreaking for our center at Shattuck Street up here. So please, if you're around, and just attend. It's a ceremonial thing, but I think it's a lot went into this. It's been long awaited for many people, and I think it's definitely something that you could be a part of. And just so 4 p.m. tomorrow out here. Let's see, we're going to hear a lot about. I know FinCom will definitely talk a little bit more about it. If you're familiar or if you follow any surrounding communities regarding the fiscal state of what's going on with a lot of town budgets and municipalities, especially ones that border us. We have 4 communities that border us, and I think 6, 7. Within a pretty close radius that are faced overrides, and they're facing overrides to their budget, and
Overrides just for operational
just
budgets,
to pay the bills that
not
exist,
for capital.
not to anything else. So the turnout, 2 meetings, and specifically Westford's meeting was so big that they didn't have enough clickers. We're going to get used to these clickers, but we learned from that they basically had to send everybody home, and they're holding another town meeting because of their override. Just drew a lot of people. A lot of people get interested when there's not enough money to pay the bills. Groton and Dunstable both had an override, and they voted it down. So they're facing some serious challenges. In cuts, obviously, that comes with this, unfortunately. I can go down 119. There's a few other towns. There's, Acton had a shortfall, but these town meetings are all still upcoming. But we are in a pretty decent shape. It's a very tough. We keep talking about it. We talked about it in November. We talked about it a few years ago. We knew that this was where certain large projects, the library, certain things come on the budget. Not a whole lot coming off. So we're trying to squeak through a couple of years here. And I'm not going to call it a rescue plan, but we do. We have where we want it. We have commercial growth that's going to happen in Littleton. The sewer does bring a lot more volume of potential profit to the town through taxation of commercial. It gives a lot more flexibility to the commercial
Spreads it
out downtown. So I think we're going to make it there. We do have a very healthy stabilization accounts. If we were to run into a situation over the next 2 years, we keep talking about this stretch where we would have to potentially use a stabilization fund. That would be our first emergency probably mechanism to help us through if we so be it. I don't think we're going to get there. I think that we have a great financial team. We have unbelievable financial policies that were put in place since our last override.
15 years ago?
Yeah, early 2000s. I think it was the high school we ran into. That created a little bit of a budget because we tried to put a school within the levy, which created quite an issue going forward for a few years. So tough times, but I think we're in good shape, and we rely on the FinCom, the finance team, and the administrator's office to keep us straight. So that's that. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware. It's definitely something going on with overall municipal budgets in the region. Veterans Breakfast, I went to last Wednesday, I think, Veterans Breakfast. Once again, our emergency responders put on a Veterans Breakfast monthly, and it's well attended and truly appreciated. Emergency Volunteer Corps put on an event since our last meeting, and my understanding is they had an enormous amount of individuals that were interested in joining, where they'll probably have to turn people away. There was that many. So
wow.
That was great to hear. And that people aren't familiar with it. It's just it's a group that gets activated, volunteers to get activated, and they train as well with the fire department in times of emergency. So whatever situations those are, they can be activated to help our local community get through it. The fundraiser, once again, Veterans, Friends of Littleton Veterans did a great job, and it continues to support our soldiers and troops overseas. Gift baskets continue to support the individuals that need assistance in the veteran community. It goes on and on and on, and just a great thanks to them. What else do we have? I just put the word cordial in here. If I know anybody that watched the planning board meeting, things can get pretty heated on any board. We've all seen it. I watch it. Sometimes I just go on YouTube and watch some other communities. It makes me feel better about ours. But it's just a reminder. We do have a code of conduct that the select board all signed. In each year we're going to sign it, whatever the board is. It can be tweaked. It can be added to. That's this board. I would recommend that all other boards and committees look at that document and kind of as a reminder of where we want to be as a community and what our standards are as we deal with the public and each other as a committee. That's it for my input. I know it's quite a bit, but I will open it up to anyone here that would like to speak in public. Please, come forward.
Hi, Vincent Stolo, 3 Sarah Doublet. Here to talk about the orchard.
Sure.
For months, I've heard the orchard working group discuss basically what amounts to a 2-step process for selling the orchard, with step 1 being seeking approval from the citizens at the May meeting to go ahead and be authorized to enter negotiation to sell the property. And then step 2, to come back at a future meeting and present the prospective buyer and seek approval to actually finalize the sale. At what I feel is very much the 11th hour, that's been changed to now a 1-step process where the warrant, as it's currently written, seems to indicate that we are to give the select board more or less carte blanche to go out, find what is deemed a suitable purchaser, and execute on that contract without further community input. It upsets me personally because I feel like it's cutting the citizenry out of a very important step in the process for a very important piece of land in the town. And I know I'm not alone in this. I run an email distribution list specific to the orchard, just keeping people aware of kind of what's gone on with the orchard working group, I try to keep it as factual as possible without any emotion in it. But the feedback that I'm getting and the text messages and the emails and the Facebook posts that I'm seeing, I really think that the Orchard Working Group, and by extension the Select Board, has underestimated the level of anger and anxiety that exists within the town with regard to this change. I think there's going to be quite a big turnout at Wednesday's meeting for the Orchard Working Group, just as a heads up.
Bring extra chairs.
Yeah, and I came tonight just to kind of address the Select Board as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad that there will be a good turnout. We obviously want to hear all the feedback. So.
Yeah, and I think as a board, that you've got a public forum, you've got the meeting, and all that's before town meeting, so
yeah,
hopefully some of that can get in front of some of this. And
that's the whole reason that we're doing it. So
thank you.
And
thank you.
Just to one final thing, I've seen the work that the Orchard Working Group has put in over the many months, and I used to be very firmly in the over-med dead body camp in terms of selling the property.
Yeah,
I've been convinced to, grudgingly to accept that a sale is really the only viable way forward for this, but the community needs input. Okay. That's my point.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Mr. Sanders.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, George Sanders, 672 Great Road. Just want to make a couple comments here. One, I think that the local water department has done a fantastic job operating our new water treatment plant over there. I was changing my filters on my refrigerator on the water about every 2 months, and now, since this plant been online, I'm going into 4 months without changing that. And that means that they're operating that plant down there, and the water even tastes better and everything. So I just want to commend them for the job that they've been doing there with the water department.
Oh, that's great, thank you. Maybe they can put them on my well.
The other thing is that I think that we need to know is that on this paperwork to get this grant from the state with regards to the box well water well over there where we're going to supply the water over there.
Yep.
Well,
Boxborough, yep.
Yeah. It was our representative, Jim Osirio, that wrote up the bill for that because Boxborough rep didn't know how to do it. So I think we'll need to give a little tilt to Jim there for doing that for us and getting that bill through to get the water. Lastly, I want to say that last year we put money into an incentive program for our workers, our employees here in the town. I think it was $26,000 or $25,000. And as of today, I put in, I think it was 9 individuals to be considered for outstanding incentive award for the work that they've been doing in the town here. And you want to improve you wanted the people to understand that you, as select board, hadn't forgotten them, and you wanted to improve there's a word I'm trying to... Morale, yeah, the morale of the employees here. I mean, you did a little bit there with the social aspects with some ice cream there. That was good, but I understand you're waiting on a policy. Now, to me, normally your policy is already before you get the money. So, but it still doesn't take, from last year up to now for someone to get a policy, what you have to do is put a deadline on, get me a draft in here as to what's what, because I'm sure HR probably could find it online, other communities that have this program, and we just adjust according to what we need. But we certainly need to do that, because I spoke to someone today, and I think it came up at one of the meetings here recently about why we haven't, moved forward with this program, because it's a good and worthy program, because we have good and worthy employees here in the town. And I tell you that we need to be awfully thankful for the employees that we have here in this town. And the people that are working hard, and the way that they administer the finance in this town, it's because of the dedication and the caring of the people in this town about Littleton. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Sanders, just to let you know, part of my report, I don't know if you were here, we did launch and reinforce the employee recognition program just this past week. To recognize
Thank you,
that.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, some great input, thank you. We're going to move on to for 7, correct?
7A.
Yes, 7A. All right, Girl Scout Silver Award Project, and presentation by Penelope Isaac. Sorry about that, Penelope. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about this project that me and my friends are working on. And I have a little speech here, I promise I'll be quick. So my name is Penny Isaac. I use they, them pronouns, and I live at 79 Neshoba Road. And I'm currently in Girl Scout Troop 62688, and I'm here to ask for your guys' help. The library has so much more to offer than just books. If you don't believe me, do you guys mind if we play a little bit of trivia?
Sure.
So between a soil tester, a Nintendo Switch, and a ukulele, which is not offered in the Library of Things?
I'm gonna go with soil tester.
Ukulele.
No, it's a ukulele. Soil tester.
All right. Well, the correct answer is actually all of these things are offered in the Library of Things.
You want us to help you, don't make us look bad. Give us some layups, would you?
Well, I'll give you guys a little hint on this next one. On a weekly average, how many people come into the library? It's between 600 and 1,000.
840.
609. Just because it's my address.
I'll go right down to those 7, probably about 750.
Karen?
950.
Wow.
Well, you were actually the closest. It's 750 to 800.
I missed that.
Which is, let's say, approximately 3,000 per month. Now, you guys don't have to answer this next question, but I wanted you to all think to yourselves personally, what are 3 things you can check out from the library that are not books?
This is the one I can answer.
If you want to answer, feel free.
I mean, memberships alone, I think, is a
Ukuleles.
huge ukulele.
Soil
I think the
testers.
memberships that are available, whether it's a zoo
A
or a
soil tester
museum
and
or
a
a soil tester. Yeah.
Do meeting rooms count? Because I use those all the time.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you're not checking out computers, but you're
Yeah.
certainly using them. In the different rooms, it's a lot
Yeah.
more than just reading. But please.
I came up with personally seeds, puzzles, and walk-in classes.
Seeds is good.
So, how does this all connect is my question. So, I love the library, and one day I was talking to librarians, and they expressed concern that the members of the Littleton community don't really know all that the library has to offer. From free Wi-Fi to magazines and newspapers to ebooks you can check out in your own home to stuff like a full record player or soil testers, ukuleles, and Nintendo Switches. They shared that their main way of communicating is through social media, but as I'm sure you guys know, because I see you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter signs, that this form of communication really only works if you have followers. So with my team and the director, Sam, we looked at the library's social media, and for scale, there are about 10,000 people currently living in Littleton. And the library had, at the beginning of March, 1,700 followers on their Facebook and 219 on their Instagram. So out of the 3,000 people that come to the library monthly and the 10,000 people that come to the library, or not come to the library, but live in Littleton, only 1,700 follow Facebook and only 219 follow Instagram. So my team set the goal of raising awareness of these many services that the library provided. We have reached out to the other boards in town and hope to have an interactive table at the upcoming third Thursdays in town elections. And we are currently on our way to making 52 Instagram posts pre-made, which is enough for one a week, highlighting the resources that may be less known about the library. By the end of our project, we hope to double the amount of followers on both social media platforms. So here's where we're seeking your help. We have created these laminated cards that make it really easy for anyone with a phone to scan and follow the library's Instagram and Facebook. So I was hoping that I could leave these with you, and if you are not already following the library's pages, I strongly suggest that you do, and I was hoping that you could pass them out at future meetings. If that happens, that would be a lot of help, and that would be great. This way, the library's offerings will be in as many hands as possible. Thank you for your time and consideration.
That's great, Penny. Yeah. Excellent.
We can make it a competition.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Thin mints. This might be a little bit out on a limb,
Thank
but
you.
these are the most popular Girl Scout cookies.
Sweet.
So
Never heard of them.
they're really good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for
Are you
limiting
grabbing some
the
for
portion.
Yes, thank you very
Because if you
much.
gave me a sleeve, I'd eat the sleeve.
Actually, leave me one for Karen. I promise I'll give it to her.
You might want to go.
What about Mark? Don't you want one?
This is less than $50, right?
He's going to have to check out his own Thin Mints.
Okay,
I got extras.
okay.
Mark's at least in the state.
Jim, is the Sam part of going to be part of our monthly
Newsletter?
newsletter? I was just thinking.
Oh, yeah, no, this is, yeah,
So
there'll
this
be
is-
overlap. I mean,
This is something
Parks
that
and
he
Rec
can.
will be part of it, Sam will
Oh,
be
great,
part
so
of
he
it.
can, this will be something we can advertise.
Absolutely, and,
We are
COA.
also, I have also made posters that we were going to hand over to the library at some point, and they're gonna go up in all of the meeting rooms around here, because as the librarians expressed, the meeting rooms are the most used out of all of the aspects, and that seemed like a great use of the space of the library, but also a little bit astonishing since a library was made for books.
don't forget, you can also put some in Town Hall, too.
Yeah.
Because there's a few meetings there, too, and also in the halls.
Thank
All
you
right, we'll get
very
it up
much.
there, thank you.
Good work.
I have a question for you. I'm sorry. And it's more for...
Do you want more Thin Mints?
No, it's a trivia question I don't have the answer to, so I really shouldn't be asking the question. Soil tester made me think of, you can buy those plug-in testers for your vehicles when your engine light comes on. Do you know if the library has one of those?
I don't know. I know they have a lot.
You
Yeah,
don't know. You
they
don't-
have
that's a perfect
lot of
answer.
stuff,
'Cause
like a lot. And I think all of the aspects of the library are incredible. Because anything that you can want but have to buy, you can check out. For example, like the Library of Things has all musical instruments, pretty much like every gaming station ever created, with the games, which is a separate checkout part. And of course, like musical instruments, a lot of gardening and like getting ready for summer supplies. But the only rule is you do have to be over 18, which to just make sure that nobody's stealing these supplies. And like a lot of new movies, there is a limited dates, but all of these are completely free, and you can have access to them whenever you want.
That's great, thank you. I'm gonna find the answer to my own question, and if there's not one, I'm gonna donate one. Because I think that would be something that people would...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a super
I don't-
idea.
Yeah. So you've already hopefully increased the visitorship.
I hope so.
I know that if I'm gonna find out if there is one. If there is one, I'm gonna check it out first, because my engine light's on. And if there isn't one, I'm gonna pick one up, and I'm gonna donate it so that others can check it out. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if I could?
No,
Yes, Karen.
Thanks. Penny, I just wanted to congratulate you on working on this award. I have a Girl Scout in my family, and it's a 50-hour commitment to make this award happen. And so congratulations to you. I know it's a huge undertaking, and thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
so much.
Hey, great that part out, all the work you're putting in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely appreciate it. Search engine optimization.
I'm going to jump around a little bit in these ones, just because we have people here and Ryan's not going anywhere, I know. And I want to move down. Looks like we have, is the Cultural Council here? No.
Rotary.
Rotary's definitely here. So let's, we're trying to approve an entertainment licenses. This would be a 3-4, I believe, for the Littleton Rotary Club Carnival, June 20th to 23rd. So please, this is a good time to pitch. I know I attended the first meeting where we discussed it a little bit here, but please introduce yourself and
Sure.
make this a success.
My name is Christopher Alphin, and I'm this year's president of the Rotary Club of Littleton. I live on 163 King Street. Sorry about the frog in my throat. We're requesting an amusement license, entertainment license, to hold a carnival at 550 King Street, the IBM property. When the Rotary Club had a council on aging come in and speak to us, and they talked about the TRED fund, it was something that we were not all that aware of. The seniors who built this town and raised their families here, some of them need such help to help them pay their property tax. And after, as we all here in Rotary are very grateful for these families who built Littleton. And we would like to honor them with this carnival and raise money to keep them in the town that they love. And that's the idea behind this. Sal Lupoli, who owns the IBM property, has given us permission to use part of his parking lot there to run this carnival on the dates that you had mentioned, Mr. Chairman. And I believe you all have the documents that we filled out in front of you. So there was a lot of questions that were answered in that. My team on the Rotary Club of Littleton has spoken to many departments in towns and found out what we need to make this carnival happen. And it isn't very difficult. It's not difficult at all. The carnival is doing, the bulk of the work. So I'm here tonight to ask you for an entertainment license for June 20th to June 23rd at 550 King Street property.
Great.
Just one question for the Thursday. Is it 6 to 10? Is that what you're looking to do on Thursday night? I just wanted to make sure, Mr. Alphin, that you have the...
Let me just double check because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay.
Thursday night, 6 to 10.
6 to 10. Okay, so I'll adjust that on this. Thank you.
By the way, the Fiesta Carnival show people have taken into consideration that they want to make this a family event. So they're starting it later in the day so that both teenagers and adult family members can be there, and that's why they start later on those weekdays.
Did you mention the first 10,000 today? Is that part of your?
So what they have done is we have made an agreement with them that rain or shine, if it rains for those 4 days and nobody shows up, they're gonna give us cut a check for $10,000. So we were, because of that, we were able to specifically say that we were going to donate $10,000 to the TRED fund.
That's great.
Rain or shine. We're hoping to raise more than that, but we can't. Everything would be speculation, right?
Great.
We're hoping that the weather will be good. June is usually a pretty good weather.
Yep.
But we had snow in April, so who knows?
It's just great to have this type of thing come back to town. I know Littleton, the residents have been here a long time. We had a circus, I think at Wickham Field, different carnivals and firemen's muster, things like that really bring the community together, and the carnival is a great event to do that as well. So.
Should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. It should be a great event for the town.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready for a motion?
I think I am.
Move that the select board vote to approve the 4 one-day entertainment licenses under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 183A, 186, and 202-205 inclusive for the Rotary Club's Carnival event to be held on June 20th through June 23rd, 2024 at 550 King Street, Littleton, Mass. For the following hours: Thursday, June 20 from 6 to 10 p.m., Friday, June 21st from 6 to 11 p.m., Saturday, June 22nd from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., Sunday, June 23rd from 1 to 9 p.m., subject to obtaining approvals and permits from the Police Department, Fire Department, Highway Department, and Board of Health.
Before you second, or for this point of discussion, can we put into the article, not the article, the motion to waive the entertainment fee? It's a $60 entertainment fee, and they're donating.
And a further move that the select board waives the $60 entertainment fee.
Second as amended.
Thank you. It's been moved by Matthew, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor? Karen?
Aye.
Great. Matthew?
Aye.
Chuck?
Chuck DeCosta, aye.
I might as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you for all
you,
you guys
Chairman.
do.
Thank
Chris
you
and
all.
Denise, thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you.
A lot of
Thank
time
you.
and effort.
Okay. Let's see, do we have anyone else here for business? Approve request from the Historical Commission to place signs around town for the annual Patriots Day event to be held on April 19th. That's correct. April 19th.
No, it is correct.
Okay.
I thought it was teeing up next year.
Oh, okay. So,
250th.
this was something that I know we saw, we kind of pushed it out a meeting, so this was something that was requested, and we still have time to make this happen, so. Any concerns by any board members? I think that was...
Nope.
All right. So it should be a good event. This is a... what was the significance of this one? This is
That was a muster point at Liberty Square.
right, but the reason is it
No, next year's.
the anniversary,
yeah,
which we put into our budget. To do
$10,000
something
being
even-
donated by Patriot.
Right, do something even greater or bigger, yeah. So it's a great event, so please, let's have a motion.
Move that the select board vote to approve the Historical Commission's request to place signs and banners around the town to advertise the annual Patriots Day event on April 19th. Locations include Town Common, Fay Park, Historical Society Building, Cromwell Way, and the entrance to the transfer station.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, second by Chuck. Karen?
Aye.
Matthew?
Aye.
Chuck?
Chuck DeCosta, aye.
Am I as well? All right, unanimous. Let's move to...
Cultural?
Cultural, yes. Vote to approve Littleton Cultural Council request for Littleton in Bloom. A little discussion on this one, just to update the public. Any?
No.
Okay. Does everybody know what this is?
Yes.
Okay. Share it.
We should, yeah.
I mean, it was shared at different locations, and I think we were giving, if you'd like, we were talking about the police station, probably the chief can have the authority there, the fire chief. But this is more generalized for town property, correct?
It's correct, yeah.
Okay. And what will they actually be putting around? Is it up there on the?
Flowers and butterflies.
Flowers and butterflies, thank you. All right.
All right.
The temporary, right?
Move that the select board vote to approve the Cultural Council's request to place 12-inch flowers and butterflies, excuse me, on town-owned property. Locations include Town Common, police and fire stations, and the park at the crossing of Harwood and Tahtawan Roads.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, second by Chuck. Karen?
Aye.
Matthew?
Aye.
Chuck?
Chuck DeCosta, aye.
Am I as well? Unanimous. They're all good things. We like this.
7C?
7C, there we go. Vote to approve route for August 18th, 2024 Tour de Cure bicycle fundraising events. Any discussion? This is, it's mapped out, and we've done this before, so this is a
Yeah, it should be.
great event.
And all of our DPW police and fire and support.
All aware? Great. That was the next question. So.
Okay. Move that the select board vote to approve the request of the American Diabetes Association to use town roads for the Tour de Cure on Sunday, August 18th, 2024.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, seconded by Chuck. Karen?
Karen Morrison, aye.
Your aye.
Matthews, aye.
Chuck DeCosta's aye.
And I'm an aye as well. It's unanimous. All right, that is,
Can I just throw something in real quick?
Please, go ahead.
I've spoken to a couple members of the Cultural Council, and I love what they're doing with the flowers in bloom. And I know that we've talked about painting the gray boxes at the control boxes at the traffic intersections. Mass DOT has kind of been a roadblock, so I'm trying to work through some contacts that I have through Mass DOT and trying to see if we can push that along, because it'd be nice to have some local artists be able to paint those boxes. And a number of other communities have done it, and I think they've been done on other state roads. So
I know.
I think we can probably, I think we can make it happen.
ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there's a lot of things like this that they're looking to do, engage different businesses and so some different stuff that they're working on. So just, we don't often hear from Cultural Council, and I like when they do things like this, because it gets people saying, what's that all about? And it's kind of cool that they're engaged in the community, even though a lot of people may not know exactly what they're doing. So, but if anybody knows anybody at Mass DOT, throw an email to the town administrator's office or me, and let's try to make that happen.
Good.
That's all. Sorry, off my soapbox.
All right, we have a vote to change the title of Assistant Town Administrator to Assistant Town Administrator / Finance Director, and revise the grade 19, from grade 19 to 20, step 8. So, I know Michelle's not here, so any discussion on this?
This is something that was presented, it went through the process with the HR employee board, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Personnel Committee.
Thank you. Personnel Advisory Committee.
Personnel Advisory Board.
And I'm putting this forward in support of the increase. And it's to Mr. Sanders' point today, I can't say enough for the work that Ryan has done around the budget. I mean, he has embraced it and tackled it and ripped it apart and tackled it again, and he's very, very impressive. And talking about someone who he works tirelessly, not only the budget but in other areas. So I think he absolutely, the support is there for that reclassification request.
I guess any discussion around it would be this position. I don't know if it's last town meeting, the special, the one before, we wanted to allow the town administrator, the assistant town administrator, to be one of the positions in town that can be a finance director. That wasn't even something we had as an option, where every now and then you get an assistant town administrator that has that skill set, that it's just, and we want to be able to take full advantage of it. Town voted for that to be an option for us. It's another position in town that can hold that position, so I think it's critical, and I'm glad, Ryan, I'll echo the
deserving
the comments. It's deserved. The only question I would have, but possibly to this, would be the stipend side. I bring that up because if it is going to be something potentially that's moved, you could put it into a stipend as well. But if you're comfortable with this, the way that it's set up this way, that's fine as well. That works. That was the only thing I was looking at, is it kind of looked like something you could actually have a stipend, kind of like we're doing with the emergency management director. That could be the town administrator, that could be the fire chief, that could be the police chief, could be. So, but that was the only comment. I'd like to echo your thoughts on what your thoughts on that are as well, if that's something.
Yeah, I think that part of it is it's just with the ATA part of it and the finance director, we're sort of blending the responsibilities such that and it's essentially been something I've been doing anyway. So, I think it's probably just changing the title and with this change is fine.
I mean, I think the argument against the stipend is, the person who's doing it is going to be recognized in their title. So if we hired a standalone finance director, or if they were the treasurer finance director, I can't remember what the other, right? Like we would negotiate the salary as we have done based on the responsibilities.
Right, and that's the other responsibility. Like if it was treasurer, you'd add that title on too.
Right.
And it would be,
So I think that this is we would move the money around by allocating it through salaries and grades instead of the stipend.
Okay, so virtue of who fills that
Yeah,
position.
basically, yeah.
So Ryan, you're stuck with us for a while then. This is
But it doesn't go with that position.
No,
As
he's
it
not stuck with us,
didn't
we're
with the
stuck with him.
with the,
yeah, that's right.
as it didn't with the accountant or the treasurer, so that,
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I
Yeah.
wanted to bring that up because that was just I didn't know if that was even thought about. It wasn't something that, at the personal advisory committee, I don't think, they're not thinking that piece of it. I thought that afterwards, if that was something you considered. But Karen, did you have any comments on this specifically?
I mean, I think the stipend idea is probably a pretty good one. But I'm not feeling super strongly about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
the only, just in defense of the structure of our government, up until 6, maybe 7 years ago, we didn't have an assistant town administrator, so that's why we didn't have the bylaw in place. So we've kind of just caught up.
Catching up, yeah. Okay. And this is the recommendation of the town administrator?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. In that case, I move that the select board vote to change the title of the assistant town administrator to assistant town administrator finance director and revise from grade 19 to grade 20, step 8 on compensation plan schedule A retroactively to February 5th, 2024.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, second by Chuck. Karen?
Aye.
Matthew?
Aye.
Chuck?
Church goes aye.
And aye as well. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, dude. Okay.
All right, we've got some more discussion here. Let's see where I bounced around a little in this section.
E.
E?
Yeah.
Now, this is something that we're going to keep on the agenda until we potentially consider a vote or something. This is the vote for discussion of Taylor Street truck exclusion. So I just want to keep it on the agenda and refresh it. If anything new, any new developments. I know last time you had met with Patriot Beverage and got us a truck count and the whole, what their thoughts on it. They're pretty strong, obviously, towards it. I have seen some emails from individuals, for and against, as you would expect. I also, I think Mr. DeCoste, Chuck, you had mentioned a little bit more. Let's look at this also, other potential streets. We really need to look at our community as a little bit differently as we update policies. And the town has changed, volume has changed. Are we trying to keep trucks off of King Street? Are they starting to get in different ways? I know we've been presented Shaker Lane had an issue with that. We discussed that in depth on why it couldn't potentially happen in the board.
Didn't have any alternatives.
Right, we really don't have alternatives. I am one, and I'll mention it, I think I mentioned it last meeting when I came on the select board, and before that, just as a citizen that uses Taylor Street a lot, I wondered why there was an exclusion there when there's a lot of that road is not excluded. Half of it isn't excluded, basically. So I just think we're talking about an area from King, that crosses over the railroad tracks, to Route 2. Because the rest of it, there isn't an exclusion. So I do think we need to continue to discuss and let the public, speak. And when they see this on the agenda, if someone would like to come in and speak to the contrary. But I do know that there's enough businesses on that street. There's a very large business that could benefit greatly from certain business hours when they're doing their business. And so we could get creative. If there's a great objection to it, we could speak to a nighttime truck exclusion and create times. But in general, I think that road is, for me, is ripe for to remove the exclusion, just because I see the enormity, the traffic during school, especially on what happens to King Street. We got enough trucks coming from Air, but when we're dumping a bunch of vehicles out onto King Street, I really start to question why, when we have a sidewalks. I would say a 90% sidewalk. We are going to have to do some work as we get closer down to the Route 2 Porter Road. That corner can get a little hairy for anybody that has to creep through there, but we're working on our sidewalk plans. But I want to hear a little bit more commentary, and we don't have to talk. I just want this on the agenda for probably a few more meetings before we make a decision, and we'll allow the public more input as we move forward.
I assume that Bruce Street is an exclusion.
Bruce Street has an exclusion. The trucks can't
right. So basically, we're talking about Route 2 to King Street, or Route 2 to Patriot is really what we're talking about. And so I think, Patriot has proved to be a good neighbor over and over. I think they'd be responsive to us if we decided to do a limit for time or limit for weight or, whatever we wanted. And I think, the alternative is pushing the traffic onto King Street, which is residential partially as well, and it's not that much bigger than Taylor Street. Right. So it seems to me that it would be a sensible alternative to reduce the load on both of those streets. Reduce the load on King Street and even it out.
And Mark, I will say, Mark did have some commentary here where we do have, and it makes sense for the speed limit to continue, Taylor all the way up to Foster, because that's really wide open.
Yeah.
But potentially, that speed limit down through that section of Taylor Street is 40 miles an hour. It might make sense, maybe talking with the police chief, to make it 35, just to move it down to a more relative speed if you're going to be putting more volume there. And I know Karen has been working hard on Powers Road, and also just overall discussion of jake braking. So that'd be a concern when you're talking trucks and things like that. So that policy would kind of run hand in hand with this. I think it would make sense when we're starting to develop different things. But Karen, did you have anything regarding these?
No, you said it. I think as we discuss adding more truck volume to other arteries, we need to also discuss what the impact of truck traffic is. And I think that including a discussion about an engine brake ban, for lack of a better word, is appropriate at the same time.
And I did see some work by town council that showed other communities that do have that type of ban and what the effects are and why and things. So it's not unprecedented by any means in surrounding.
No, it's not. And I think town council's recommendation was that if we were to do something that was town-wide, we would want to include some tailoring, because the broader a law is, the more likely it is to get to run afoul of somebody's opinion on whether we've overshot our mark.
Sure.
So the suggestion there, I think, was to limit it to diesel.
So more work to come on that one, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to play devil's advocate to myself, really, because I kind of share your opinion as far as Taylor Street is concerned. I think it's time that we do something. The only reservation that I have is, so if we're all thinking about Patriot, and there's a fair number of trucks that go in and out of Patriot, and I talked to Domingo, who's the plant manager, and I do have the numbers written down, but I just don't have them with me.
Yeah, Jim shared them with us as well.
Yeah. So the thing that would concern me is, so then we're eliminating trucks coming from Patriot and going over the tracks towards King Street. But we're not doing anything about all the trucks coming from Air that see the traffic from the high school and take a right onto King Street and take a left onto Taylor Street to get to Route 2.
Sure.
So we could be, by solving one problem, creating another problem. So there's got to be some tailoring, pardon the pun.
But aren't those trucks already coming from Air, turning right on King Street, or turning right off across the tracks? If they're coming down from Air?
If they're going to Patriot, they are.
He's talking about if they were trying to get to Route 2.
Oh, I
Trucks.
see. Oh, I see. Yeah, going, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Trucks that were going to
Got
495
it,
to go
okay,
south
yeah.
or something
Right,
like
right,
that. If they see the traffic backed up on King Street,
They could go to.
they could
Route
scoot
2,
around and try to, Waze will tell them to go
Yeah.
this way, but.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily a complete safety issue. I know it got flagged as that because of the incident that happened, but this is more of a generality of that, when that was put into place. It was quite a while ago, and I,
And
there's a history to it, but I'd like to, potentially we'll continue to get public input on it, but I just want to.
there was a lot of conversation
That's-
around it when Matt
that's
King
it.
was chief, and there was, I frankly thought that it was going to be implemented or
Yeah.
lifted back then,
Because no one could figure out exactly why it was put in place.
pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Karen, anything else on that?
No, thank you for asking.
All right, thank you. Mr. Sanders, I'll take public input on that, sure. Thank you. Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. George Sanders, 672 Great Road. I had a question about the Assistant Town Administrator. As you well know, I would like to know if the position, because when Mr. Burton was here, was when they added on that assistant for the finance there. We need to make sure that we're complying with the state requirement in procurement. So does that position have the procurement element on it, or is it the town administrator that dealing with that requirement?
It is through the chair. It is the assistant town administrator. Ryan is a certified MCPPO, certified public purchasing officer.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good question, George. Okay, without anything further, I think we've hit that section is complete, correct? I didn't miss it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I jumped around because there were people here.
Alphabet soup.
Let's get into our minutes. We're looking for an approval for minutes of January 30th and March 25th.
I have no updates for the minutes.
Any questions on the minutes from that? No.
Move that the Select Board vote to approve the meeting minutes from the joint Select Board Finance Committee meeting on January 30th, 2023, and the Select Board meeting on March 25th, 2024.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, second by Chuck. Karen?
Karen, aye.
Matthew?
Aye.
Chuck?
Chuck DeBoer's aye.
I'm aye as well. The minutes are approved, and we have to wait 1 minute before I hit this anticipated adjournment right on the nose.
Did the town administrator, assistant town administrator have anything?
Do you have any
guys
other
anything?
updates?
Anything else?
No, we're
Just count.
Anything that's 30 seconds or
All right,
less.
just hit
Count.
9 o'clock.
Should we just count?
9 o'clock, my
Motion.
phone says 9.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Matthew, seconded by Chuck. Karen,
Karen's aye.
have a good night, and take care of your family. We'll see you when you get home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew,
Yeah.
Chuck,
Chuck is
I'm
aye.
aye as well. Thank you, Littleton, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Good night, Littleton.
Good night.